What's up, guys? This is the Vinyl Casket. I am Nick, your home to the lamest taste. Do me a huge favor and please on Twitch and YouTube follow and subscribe, like, comment, hit the bell on YouTube. Follow my Instagrams at Vinyl Casket and Vinyl Casket Comics. With that being said, we are doing a super cool review today on Spider-Man No Way Home. Saw it last night. Finally did it. Very excited to talk about this movie. I know I'm a little late on it. It was very hard to keep away from spoilers. This is going to be my spoiler review. It's going to be chock full of my opinions, how I felt about the movie, a little bit of a synopsis. So we'll start off. Obviously, this is Marvel Studios' third entry of Spider-Man in the MCU Marvel Cinematic Universe. Obviously starring Spider-Man, Tom Holland, and Doctor Strange. It was really cool to see these characters interact. You had the main Spider-Man side cast of MJ, Ned, and Flash. That was really interesting. And obviously this movie is our MCU introduction into the multiverse. How the multiverse kind of gets opened up and messed with, leading into the next Doctor Strange movie, which is Doctor Strange in the multiverse of madness. We had, all this magic stuff happen in WandaVision and kind of hinting on where that's going to go. Another thing that was mentioned from WandaVision was at the end of WandaVision, we found out that Nick Fury's been off-world, and the people pretending to be Nick Fury were Skrulls. No, we knew that they were Skrulls from Spider-Man Far From Home, but in WandaVision, we found out where Nick Fury actually was. That is referenced in the beginning of this movie, that Nick Fury wasn't there, even though Nick Fury was there. That was really interesting. I really enjoyed the cinematics here. This felt like there's always different levels of MCU films. They're all above average for modern day cinema, but you'll have like an Ant-Man and a Wasp, or I'm trying to think of another lower one. Guardians actually is pretty. Shang-Chi was pretty big, but like the Ant-Man films were like on the lower scale, right? And then you had something like Endgame, which is like this major cinematic, like you saw the budget went into the action and stuff. And then other films are more like directed towards different directions. So far, the Spider-Man ones haven't felt that big budget. There's like one major fight, little fights that lead up to it. This film, the cinematics were great. The film, the editing, the music, it was so crisp. It was incredible. The best Spider-Man movie that we've gotten out of the MCU, and up there with the other 5 movies. Whatever the best of those 2 series are. I was blown away. Obviously, everyone knows at this point, because it was super spoiled, all the rumors that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, the other 2 Spider-Man, were going to be in this movie, completely disregarded the entire time. My fiance Tony was like, it's going to happen. And then I got to the point like, okay, even if it happens, it's only going to be for like a scene. It's only going to be for a scene. We got the trailer, all the different villains, which I'll talk about from the other films, are in there. And I was like, okay, we're going to get it. We're going to get them, but like, we're not going to really get them. And then the movie comes out and everyone's like, they're in it. I'm like, okay. I sit down, I watch this. They're in majority of the film. 60% of the film is all 3 Spider-Men. The references, the chemistry, the nods towards the other films, them talking about it, the stuff with, I feel like I'm getting off track, but I guess right now I'm talking about the things I liked that had to do with the story. A lot of the references that they put in this film to the other Sony franchises, like Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man, were incredible. Spider-Man having a dark, Andrew Garfield being like, oh, like I went dark. Like it took forever. I don't want you to do that. Toby talking about how like he finally ended up with MJ and like that's like the big thing. How Andrew couldn't save Gwen. Ned talking to them about their best friend, them both having to talk, like, think about Harry. Becoming the Green Goblin for both of them. And obviously Ned Leeds being a character that at one point is framed as the Hobgoblin, was like, and then Ned being like, I'll never turn into an evil villain. Like, is that going to happen? Really cool. I love the Doctor Strange integration into this, the whole integration of magic. We had 5 past villains, all portrayed by the past actors. We had Sandman, we had Doc Ock and Green Goblin from Tobey Maguire movies. Then we had what's it called? We had Electro, which was Jamie Foxx, which was 6. They redesigned him completely to be in this new universe. And we had Lizard, Kirk Connors. It was really cool to see the characters from the same universes interact and know each other. But what annoyed me is that Doc Ock and Harry Osborn weren't like, you're Kirk Connors? Like, they should know Kirk Connors. Kirk Connors is the doctor and a professor in their universe. He's portrayed by a different actor, but he was still in that universe as Kirk Connors. Like, probably would have eventually, if they continued the Tobey movies, became the Lizard. I don't want to ramble too much, but I like that chemistry that they put. We had 5, so we didn't get a Sinister 6, but it was still sick. Like, it was sick. And they referenced the Rhino, and they referenced Venom, which was really cool. Neither of them reference Harry directly being Green Goblin, but it was really cool to see them talk about Venom and talk about the Rhino. We never did get Andrew Garfield's full fight with the Rhino in the Rhino suit. It would have been really cool if we could have gotten like a cutscene of that somehow. Because we never got that conclusion of that fight, because we never got Amazing Spider-Man 3. But it was really cool to see the characters interacting, and getting basically a Sinister 5. Sinister Foes, maybe you could call it. It was cool. The whole Tom Holland having to come to the terms that, like, he could save these people. They all die because of Spider-Man. Like, Aunt May convincing him, like, your job in life is to help people, not to kill people, to help people. And he's trying to fix these people so they can go back. When they go back, maybe their futures are changed, their destinies are changed. He basically cures Doc Ock by replacing the chip, which is so simple, which was really cool. And then Green Goblin turns on him, and then Electro the whole time is really sus. He turns on them, steals the art reactor. The scenes with Happy Hogan were really cool. And then we basically get them all turning. I loved how Sandman was like protecting Peter at the beginning, and the whole time he's just like, I want to go home. Like, I'm going to do whatever side helps me get home. Like, he's not necessarily a villain, and they cured Doc Ock, so he's not necessarily a villain. So, like, it's just the 3, just the Lizard who's just crazy, and the other 2. And Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, eventually when they meet up with Peter and everything, they get their chance to, like, reconcile with these people that they couldn't save, which is really cool to see. And yeah, I thought that was awesome. I thought the whole film was great. It visually looked great. It was edited. The storyline was really cool. There's a lot of unique things to this that haven't been really adapted from a storyline from the comics. So, like, it was our own real telling, which is what the Spider-Man movies from MCU have been doing, is telling things in their own way while still having traditional references. And I really enjoyed this film because it took this Edge of the Spider-Verse, Spider-Geddon, kind of whatever it is, and did it in its own real way, and then basically tied in a whole other storyline, which is how they kind of solved this, which is basically forget Spider-Man as Peter Parker, forget Spider-Man exists, forget everyone knows who Peter Parker is, which is from the comics storyline No Way Home, One More Day, Brand New Day, which I hate. I hate One More Day. I hate Brand New Day. I hate Brand New Day way more than One More Day, because just like in this, Aunt May dies. Aunt May dies in the film. Huge upset. I hated it, but it happened, right? And there's no Uncle Ben in this universe, which sucks. So Peter has no one. And then he gets to restart his whole world without anyone knowing him and has to build from the ground up. So everything he built with MJ in the comics is a little bit worse, because I think him and MJ are married and they have this big, like, extensive life together, and it's just cut and then redone. And we're still working on that in the comics today. We still, 10 years later, we still haven't rebounded and gotten past where we were before Brand New Day, which sucks. But yeah, so basically he tries to go to Doctor Strange to cast this spell so everyone forgets his like secret identity except for his close group of friends. He keeps adding people and it messes up the spell. Mysterio at the end of the last film is the reason why everyone knows, because he sent this video to whatever, and the Daily Bugle, which is finally mentioned in the MCU, broadcasts it. Screws up everything. Very congested today. And allows this story to take place. I think it would have been interesting if they had brought Mysterio back, because Green Goblin came back to life because he knew who Peter was. Mysterio knew who Peter was, so couldn't he have come back? I don't know. Vulture is still in prison, but we've gotten a scene with an end credit scene with him, so something's going on with him. He could have gotten out. That would have been cool, but no, we only got 5, and we got a bunch of references to all these other villains. Yeah, I'm just thinking about how many villains we have in the MCU or have existed in the MCU so far. So main MCU villains, we have Vulture and Mysterio, but we also had Shocker, and we've had glimpses of who the Prowler is going to be, and then we had all these other villains. So that was really cool. So far, the MCU's done more with Spider-Man than the other movies, and that's so crazy. So basically, he does it. He messes up Doctor Strange's spell, creates the thing. Doctor Strange thinks he stops it, but these villains get in, and apparently also the other Spider-Man get into the MCU, and everything has to go down. They turn on Spider-Man, then the other Spider-Man have to come together. Big fight, really cool. And then he gets to the point where he has to do the One More Day thing, and then restart his whole life, basically, with his best friends not knowing who he is, not having Aunt May, Happy Hogan not knowing who he is. Just crazy. So now we've basically set up now in this movie Spider-Man to take on every traditional Spider-Man storyline from this point on. Spider-Man's on his own. He's has to take the GED, can't go back to high school, has to somehow get into college, has to get a job, is living in an apartment by himself, so he's going to bounce paycheck to paycheck. I'm assuming he's going to go to the Daily Bugle. It'd be weird if he didn't. Another thing in this movie was that they're all trying to get into MIT, which is cool. I'm hoping that because he's either going to get into MIT or he gets into Empire State University, which is the one that's always used in the comics, and that's how he feels himself. I doubt he's gonna forget or give up on Ned and MJ. I'm assuming he's gonna try to weasel his way into their lives, like he does in the comics. Every time someone forgets who he is, he just reestablishes their friendship without them ever knowing all the stuff that happened before. We also got at the end a brand new costume with a traditional spider symbol, bright blue, kind of like Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and then the red spider on the back, which was awesome. So yeah, a lot happened really quick. It is like a 2.5 hour movie, but holy crap, the amount of stuff they packed into this was incredible. Cinemax was great, story was great, acting was great, budget was tremendous. So the cast of characters was incredible, costumes were great, redesigns were awesome. The whole goblin thing wearing like a hood was really cool. Yeah, mentioning Thanos and them like comparing their villains, sick. And then we get a really cool story. It's a really good movie. It's top 5 MCU movies to this date. I don't want to rank anything because I want to eventually do a video, but I would say, you know, for me personally, in my top 5 is this Spider-Man movie, Ant-Man and Wasp, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and then probably the 2 last Avenger movies, Endgame and Infinity War, are probably my top 5. Most likely. I haven't really dug into it. But, like, it's on that scale of, like, tremendous. Those other 2 movies aren't that tremendous. Well, Guardians was when it came out. But that's just my personal opinion. Huge movie. Super, super inspiring how they did this. And then the end credits. First end credit you get really is Venom from the Sony Venom movies. Also somehow ended up here. I don't know how, because they only were supposed to pull in people who knew who Peter Parker was. So somehow he got thrown in. He's not the Venom that knows who Peter Parker is. Topher Grace's character was the Eddie Brock that knew who Peter was and was Venom. So that was interesting that Venom somehow ended up, and then he finds out all about this stuff, and then he gets blimped back. But a piece of Venom ends up in the MCU. So I'm assuming that the next storyline is going to end up being Venom oriented. And then I'm hoping that they do Clone Saga. I would love to see Clone Saga adapted, especially because eventually we're going to get Miles. You know, we're going to get Miles movies. So it would be really cool if, like, the next movie we get introduced to. Oh, another thing I didn't talk about. I would really like them to introduce Jackal as a villain, and then the stuff with the Venom happens with the black suit. Then Venom becomes a character with Eddie Brock. And then Flash Thompson eventually becomes Venom. And then we also get the Clone Saga, so we could have Venom facing off against multiple Spider-Man and Kane, and it would be a whole big thing. That would be cool. But at the beginning of the film, Spider-Man needs a lawyer. It is Daredevil. It's the guy who played Daredevil from the Marvel Netflix shows, which is now canon because he clearly has powers, because something goes through the window and he catches it while he's already blind. Genius. I'm hoping that this means we get a Daredevil movie, maybe an Elektra movie, maybe Secret Avengers, Defenders, something like that. Heroes for Hire would be really cool. Yeah, and that's basically everything that happens. Oh, and the last, basically the last end credit scene is just an extended trailer for Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness. We're gonna get Wanda, Doctor Strange. We're getting American Chavez. Yeah, really cool. A lot of characters, very exciting. Hopefully Multiverse of Madness brings us the X-Men or the Fantastic Four. I don't know if we're going to reboot the Fantastic Four in the MCU. Like, they're just going to go on an adventure because, you know, into space for these aliens, and they end up whatever, because Skrulls already exist. Or the X-Men and the Fantastic Four going to be brought in that way. I don't know. I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 5. Amazing. Highly recommended. Yeah, I loved it. I loved everything about it. I'm so excited. It surpassed any expectation I had. Yeah. So, guys, in the comment on YouTube and Twitch, please follow and subscribe. YouTube, like, and comment. Let me know how you felt about the movie. What's your favorite MCU movie? What are you most excited for? What was your favorite part? My favorite part was all the Spider-Man talking about their villains and stuff. That was really cool. Follow my Instagrams at VonCasket and VonCasket Comic, and do me a huge favor and remember to stay lame.